Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Here's another gun for you guys to see here on Cranky Gun Reviews. Dun, 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 dun. I won't get demonetized because I'm using my own music. Dun, 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 dun. Wow! Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. I have something new and fresh. So after the last couple times I took out my Kel Tec Sub2000, you heard me complaining that it's not very comfortable to shoot and not really easy to put optics on it. The sights that are on it are kind of crummy. They aren't really tall enough, and the sight radius isn't very good on the Kel Tec Sub2000. Your cheek is riding up against the buffer tube on it, so every time the bolt cycles, it's basically bashing you in the cheek, and basically every single time I shot it, I would get a sore cheek. I would have a bruise on my cheekbone for a couple of days. So I talked to a few of my friends, tried selling my Kel Tec, and basically I got impatient and traded it in at a shop. Definitely lost a little bit of money on it. You know, I could have gotten more for it if I was a little bit more patient. So the reason I traded this in when I did, the Kel Tec Sub2000, as I said, is very uncomfortable to shoot. And a local shop near me that I've shopped at before, Monadnock Firearms up in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire, they had this in stock, and it's compliant in my state, mainly because it comes with a 10-round magazine, and there's usually some other stupid law that our state has that makes firearms not compliant, makes the manufacturers have to jump through hoops. But some of the benefits I like about this over the Sub2000, obviously has a real stock on it for one. That's a key. The charging handle is reversible. If you remember on the Kel Tec, it was on the bottom of the gun. This one you can mount it on the left side or the right side of the gun simply by taking out the screw and screwing it in the other side of the bolt. Really simple. The magazine release is ambidextrous as well, so you can take it out from this side, put it on the other side. Also, the magazine well is interchangeable between a Ruger SR9 or R40 or R9 series into a Glock series. So my Glock 17 mags that I had for my Kel Tec Sub2000, every single one of those magazines works for this, and I have about 12 Glock 17 mags. So makes it really easy for me to swap. I didn't have to buy any more magazines, and it's still 9mm, so that makes it a lot easier to use. Another thing I like about this, being that it's a takedown model, not quite as portable as the Kel Tec Sub2000 where it just folded in half, but you release the pin in the bottom of this, twist the barrel, and pull the barrel out. Then you have a two-piece rifle that you can stuff in a backpack, or if you wanted to, you could get another 1022 takedown pack and stuff it in one of those. There's also tons of companies out there that make discrete carry bags for rifles like this or AR-15s that split in half. Another nice feature about this, it has much better sights than the Kel Tec. So the sights on this one, peep sight in the rear and a really nice front sight, kind of like an AR-15, not really like an AR-15, but I guess kind of more like a M1 carbine style, where it has the big wings protecting the pin in the center, and it has a threaded barrel. So what I was able to do was keep a lot of the parts that I took off of my Kel Tec Sub2000. Well, really just the muzzle brake that I had on there. There's an A2 style bird cage, and it's 3/8 24 thread for a 9mm. It actually has to be a 9mm muzzle brake, not a 223, because you'll blow it off the end of the barrel. So this is actually made for 9mm. Again, the sights on this are a lot better. The rail, because the gun doesn't fold in half onto itself, I can actually put an optic on here, so I'm probably going to put a red dot on there. I have one, I think it's a center point, you know, just a zero magnification red dot that's on my 1022 takedown that I might put on this, because I need a 2 MOA or a 3 MOA red dot to put on my 1022. You really can't see the rounds when you're shooting 22. Let me go ahead and break this in half so you can see what's going on. So this is what it looks like when you break it in half. Obviously this is the barrel end of it. And it is a pretty hefty gun. This is your takedown lever right here. You do have to make sure that your bolt is locked back And similar to a 1022, you pull the bolt back and there's a magazine catch right down here on the bottom. So you pull the bolt back, push that up, and then to release the bolt, it's like an auto bolt release in a 1022. You slide it back and release it and it opens the bolt up. So if you've ever used a Ruger 1022, a PC9 will be very familiar in function to you. Same style trigger as a 1022, same cross bolt safety as a 1022. What is different on this, on the 1022, you have the magazine drop right here in front of the trigger guard. I kind of wish they could have carried that over into the PC9 because this is your magazine release over here. And honestly, I didn't really think much about it until I was watching a TFB TV video on the Ruger PC Carbine. James Reeves was talking about it, and some of the stuff that he said he hates about it is that the magazine release and the magwell is so far forward from the trigger guard. It would have been nice to either have a button on the side or right in front of the trigger guard like a 1022, but realistically, not a big deal. Again, magwell, I've changed this one out. You can see, well, it's kind of hard to see with the light, but you can see it says G9 or G40 on there. That means I can use a Glock magazine, either a 9mm or 40, if they did make this in a 40. It's pretty hefty. I mean, the stock is, you know, it's their standard plastic. It has some pretty nice stippling on here on the pistol grip. I think the stock on this is actually pretty well made. Probably a little bit nicer than what they have on the Ruger American rifles. You have a little piece of Picatinny rail up here in the front, so you can either use a bipod or you can put some different type of sling mount or a flashlight or something underneath this. It also comes with your sling swivel here in the front and one molded into the rear of the stock. So another nice thing, you don't have to worry about putting a sling swivel. I know the chassis version of this doesn't have a sling swivel in the front of it, but it does have an adjustable stock like an AR-15. You can change the pistol grip out on it like an AR-15. But you'd have to put a sling swivel somewhere up on the front of the gun. Not a big deal. I kind of wish I had bought the chassis version, but they're about $200 more than this, or about $180 more than this. And to be perfectly honest, the more I look at this, the more I like it. I really like the quality of the stock, the thickness of it, the stippling on it is really good. And I think the chassis model probably weighs more because you have a full rail going down the length of the barrel. This does have a nice heavy-duty fluted barrel on it. So I'm excited to take this thing out to the range. And the real reason I bought this, again, I tried a 995 TS. I never took videos with it because I was kind of embarrassed to own it. But the High Point 995 TS, 100% reliable, functioned with everything I put into it. But it was just kind of a crappy design. The spring-loaded butt plate I really didn't like. I really didn't understand it. Right out of the box, every one that I've ever seen, the rear sight has to be drifted all the way to the left, or you have to loosen up the front sight and twist it on the barrel so that the rear sight can be centered. I don't really like that very much. It always looked cheesy to me, so I sold the 995 TS for what I paid for it, luckily. Then I bought the Kel Tec Sub2000 to replace it, you know, and I shot that 5 or 6 times. Every time I shot it, I put 100, 150 rounds through it, and I never really liked it. Like, I love the design of it. I love the portability of it. It's an awesome gun for what it is, but it just didn't do it for me. So in keeping with my, I don't want to keep guns that I don't shoot. I don't want to keep guns that I'm not that interested in shooting. So traded it in towards this guy, and obviously I had to drop, a couple $100 cash on top of it. But I'm very happy with this. Can't wait to take it out and shoot it. So very soon you guys are going to see a video with the Bond Arms Derringer and this guy out at the range. So thanks for watching this short version of Cranky Gun Reviews on this beautiful Monday night. God bless America. Make sure you support your 2A rights. And have a great night.